Hi everyone, and welcome to this walkthrough of the MapX platform. Today we're going to show you how to do data visualizations in MapX. Now that's a fairly lengthy word, but what do we mean by this? Well, basically it's how do you combine spatial information, for example the concessions, with other kind of information, for example EITI payments. How do you bring that together in one map and visualize what that looks like? So I'm going to show you the power of MapX to bring spatial data together with other kinds of information into what we call a heat map. And a heat map basically shows the intensity of a specific variable, such as revenue payments. So I've gone ahead and I've opened up the DR Congo map, and I'm going to show you a layer that you've seen before in these tutorials, which is concessions by activity and concessions by type of mining. So here you have information that's being pulled in from the cadastre in DRC, and as we've seen before, you can query any of these polygons to see the information it contains. Now what we've done is we've started linking the information about the cadastre to the information provided by the EITI annual report. And you can see, for example, if you click on this specific concession, you can see that we started linking in the reports that they've sent into the EITI into the MapX database. So you have here the reporting made for 2013 and 14. I'll click on that link and you can see what that looks like. So you actually have the full report that was made to the EITI for this concession in the year 2013, and if you clicked on the other link it would be 2014. Now the question is, so what? How does that help us? Well, what we can now do in MapX is to ask, well, of all these concessions, which concessions actually reported to the EITI? So we've done that, and we can see that it's actually only a subset. I'm turning this layer on and off, but these are the subset of concessions that have actually declared an EITI report. And if you want to see only that, I can turn it off. So you can see it's a really subset of the overall number of concessions in DRC. But more importantly, you can begin to ask, well, what amount of revenue did each of these concessions pay? And this is what I'm talking about in terms of a heat map. Show me by color the total amount of revenue paid. And this is so easy to do in MapX. You can pull all the information from those EITI reports directly into the map. And I can show you exactly what that looks like in this heat map here. So you can see these are revenues paid by each concession, and the total color is indicative of the amount paid. And you can begin to see that there is obviously a huge amount of activity in terms of revenue payment in this region here, in this region here, and in this region here, in a manner that you wouldn't understand by just looking at the concession map. So that's really the power of a heat map, is it's pulling in the concession information and the financial information. Now, what I find interesting about this particular heat map is the ability to then overlay other information on top of it. For example, let's look at poverty rates. And we can then begin to see how poverty potentially interconnects spatially with the amount of payments being made. So in this region here, you see that there's a high number of payments being made, and you have a somewhat lower amount of poverty. But in this region here, you've got high payments and high poverty. So the question is, why? What's going on? And we're looking now to develop further visualizations which can begin to explore those kinds of spatial linkages. So that's the MapX heat mapping capacity. That's an example of a data visualization and an example where we can bring in and start linking up concession data and EITI payment information in one heat map. I hope you enjoyed watching this walkthrough. If you have feedback on the MapX platform, we'd be happy to hear from you. Thanks again.